I'm joined now by comedian, podcaster, and all-round entertaining human, Becky Lucas. Becky, welcome to the Green Room podcast.
Hello.
It's very exciting to have you here. I know we're coming to the end of a pretty weird year, but we're slowly but surely clawing out of the weirdness more and more. 2022 is already looking pretty bright for you. I know you're on the bill for Brisbane Super Fun. I'm going to say it wrong. I always say it in the wrong way around. Super Fun Day Festival. Got it right.
Yes.
Which is something I'll come back to shortly. But back to this year for a moment. Somehow you've still been able to kick total ass in this weird old year, including hosting the 2021 Melbourne International Comedy Festival Gala. Can you take us back to that moment? What was it like to get out on stage, especially in that setting after being cooped up?
It was pretty cool. Very surreal. It almost feels so strange that happened when I went back into lockdown again.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a really weird blip. But it was pretty cool. I mean, yeah, it's very strange. Like, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. I mean, it was really scary too, because that's one of those gigs where like if you mess up, everyone will talk about it.
Yep.
Like you can just feel the group chats firing up if you kind of mess it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I guess you're also been able to do a little bit of awesome stuff. Like I've been reading you constantly labeled as someone taking the podcasting world by storm, which is obviously terrifying to bring you on a podcast, but I love that you've got that.
Now, are you quoting Richard Wilkins?
I'm pretty sure I'm quoting Richard Wilkins.
Wow. I mean, look at that. That is so funny. I mean, I don't think Richard Wilkins even know. In fact, I know for a fact that he doesn't really know what podcasts are, which is so funny. Because then we went on his morning show where he told everyone we're taking the podcasting world by storm. I don't think he knew what it was. He was just reading.
That's fantastic. Well, someone really thinks it. So I've had a listen and it's actually really awesome. So obviously you kicked off the Becky and Cam hotline. Episode 1, the first title, Did You Fart, is what actually hooked me, like, because I'm very mature, clearly very mature. But
I just think it's I love asking people questions that put them off guard. It's like if you see someone and you're like, were you just crying?
That's my favorite thing, actually.
Put them on the back foot.
Yeah, rather than like, oh, how's your day going? Just like, have you been crying?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, why? Someone said something.
Who was it? It was in the group chat.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been reading a lot of the reviews of that too. Like, obviously it's not just me and Richard Wilkins pretending to like it, but I think stuff like I don't even bother talking about my problems with friends anymore, because Becky and Cam's hotline is all I need. Like, it's hard to argue with that. But what gave you guys the idea to start life coaching?
We always love giving people unsolicited advice. I think it's really fun. I mean, I love doing that. I love giving people advice that I would never follow myself. Like, I've been to 3 therapy sessions, and I think for 5 years I've been just repeating it to other people, which I enjoy. Can't do anything myself. Can't follow my own advice.
Oh, but that's therapist.
Totally. I don't know why we did it. I mean, we always kind of it was just a good vehicle to like do what we do, which is like really silly and stuff. And people, I think, are more invested in just a regular podcast because it's kind of fun to watch people sacrifice themselves, because we're often kind of mean to them or whatever. So it's fun. Sometimes we give great advice and then sometimes it's ridiculous, but I think it's like a fun thing for people to see how we're going to react. And then it's fun for other people to see other people taking a risk. I don't know. People love like it when it's about them, everyone kind of just wants to be a part of it. So I think that's why it works.
Yeah, well, I wish my therapist had a better sense of humour, and I did trial it a few times. So, I mean, if there was someone like you actually putting some jokes in there and not taking the piss occasionally, I'd throw all my money. Like, there's something to be said for throwing all the money in there too. So, maybe I might afterwards, I might just see if, you want to do some freelance work.
Give me a problem, I'll help you. What do you need? Unless it's, something that needs medication. But
Look, we might be here for a while. But as I touched on at the start, you have also been announced appearing on the incredibly exciting, quote unquote, mixed bill with the powers of music and comedy coming together at the Super Fun Day gracing Brisbane next March. I can't believe that's actually sooner than I actually realise it is. But the lineup's insane. You've got Hockey Dad, Arnie Donna, Middle Kids, Michelle Brazier, T. Costello, obviously yourself and many others. What can we expect from a Becky Lucas stand-up set in 2022? And more importantly, how excited are you for this amazing event?
I'm really excited to do it. I mean, I love festivals. It's so fun. Everyone's always so up for it. I'm not even sure what jokes I'll be doing yet. I've just started getting back into comedy rooms and testing out new material, but it's been going really well and I'm really excited. But I hope to have some really good new jokes for next year. But I don't know what they'll be yet. Hopefully they just appear. But I'm sure it'll, it's fun to kind of point out different people at a festival and make fun of them.
Oh, God.
So I'm sure there'll be a lot of that.
Excellent. Again, this could be like just opening up your therapy skills to a broader audience.
Yeah. For sure. Or my bullying streak.
Well, you know what? We all need a little bit of fun. It's a very Aussie thing to do, I feel. So and what's more Aussie than a festival? So bring it on.
Yes, I know. I love it. I love seeing, there's all the different types of people at a festival. Like my favorite type of guy is the one who he doesn't leave the campsite the whole time.
Yes.
And he's always like a mate, he's like a friend's cousin. And he's got he comes straight from work. He's got high vis on. He's got his own esky.
Yes.
And maybe he goes in for one act, but he's just always at the campsite. It's like, I feel like they don't even leave ever. They just emerge from the ground.
Yeah. They're still currently there, like waiting for the next one. I think.
Yeah, they've been there since Splendor. Like they just sort of emerge to each different location. It's awesome.
I think I went to like Pete's Ridge Festival like 20 million years ago at this point, and there was a guy literally, it was like a New Year's Eve one, and he spent the whole time face down on his tent that was never put up. And I'm like, I just respect that. I respect that you can have a great time and not have to go and, get amongst it.
Totally. He does not have one of those timetables highlighted with the different bands.
No.
What year were you at Pete's Ridge? Because I was there the year that Gotcha was playing. Oh my God. And he got angry at everyone. Do you remember?
Yes. That was one of the last New Year's festivals I ever went to. And I was like, sorry, Gotcha.
Yeah. He was really cross because, he's a music teacher and he totally had like angry music teacher vibes.
Yes. Well, actually, my mother's a music teacher, and I was like, oh God, it's like my mother's here and she's Gautier suddenly.
Oh, it was hilarious because he was like running around trying to show everyone all these different instruments, and he's like, this one's really interesting because it actually plays all the different octaves, and everyone's like, just play the song.
Play Heart's a Mess. It's the only one people knew at that point. Oh, I wonder you may have walked past my mate face down on his tent at one point. How beautiful is that?
How amazing. That's I love that. That's podcast magic.
That is, you can't make this up, can you? This is too perfect. Well, and bring it back to you, like obviously all about you, very important. I'm not, because I'm going to briefly talk about someone else to start this question, but I had Arnie Donna on the podcast a while back. Zach was sick, but Mark and Broden showed me their poster wall of sketches. It was very on-brand mayhem, but for yourself, like you were talking about kind of how you're going to start planning it, like how do you start to test and trial and dream up these jokes? Like, are you a spontaneous person or do you have like a really strict plan about how you bring these to life?
I really just like, I have a lot of friends. No, I have like a lot of funny friends, and we just love to like muck around, and that's kind of how I come up with stuff. It's like I talk to people about things that are making me laugh, and then if it's funny enough, I'll write it down, and then I kind of think of some other things that could fit into it, and then you just take it around and like try it out in front of people.
Yeah.
So there's no like, I think I just try to do stuff that's like, it's making regular people laugh. I'm not too deep or anything, but
I think that's what resonates. And like you genuinely see people actually laughing, because there's nothing worse than when someone tells a joke and it's just like that, like, or like the awkward sounds. Although I do love that sometimes as well. I do find that funny occasionally, but.
Totally. I love it all. I mean, it's like, it's such a funny, comedy is so like, I think it's so great and it's so fun, and but it is this weird, it's like you really get everything on the spectrum. You get the worst stuff, the best stuff. And it seems to be really hard to get people to go. Like everyone's always like, laughter's the best medicine. Like we're always trying to compare it to medicine. Like,
yes,
it's like this weird. But I think when people go to a really good night, they're like, oh, this is so good. It's kind of one of those things that gets forgotten. So I'm excited that it's being lifted up I like the combination of music and comedy. It makes us feel cooler.
So something you touched on earlier that I would love to chat through with you, like obviously throughout the pandemic, I feel like everyone I spoke to, the two really key things that many people were saying kept them sane despite the earlier shenanigans with sourdough earlier on, it was always music and comedy. And I feel like so many people turned to the arts for something that became like a bit of a strength for them despite everything. How important is it for you to be able to be part of the incredible arts and comedy scene in Australia and, you know, have fun, but also actually make a difference as this wonderful side effect?
I mean, wow, that's, you've really made us sound like heroes. Most of us are just attention seeking, like insecure people. But I mean, look, I like everything. I mean, sometimes you're like, oh God, like, why am I doing this? This is, you know, constantly asking everyone to like, look at me, look at me. But there is something, you know, you forget how much. So for example, like me and my friend who do the podcast, we did a live podcast during the lockdown, and I wasn't really prepared for how, I mean, it's just such a stupid, dumb podcast, but it was really sweet. Like we had hundreds of people on Zoom, like we did it over Zoom, and it was just really like really sweet to see inside everyone. Like everyone was alone, or like there'd be couples and they were home alone on a Saturday night. And like, you just realize how much, you know, comedy and stuff like that, it does connect people. Like there is this really fundamental, even if you're all just laughing at something really silly, like just the loneliness that was happening during COVID and stuff, you know, I think it was hard for some people to comprehend just how alone a lot of people were. So when we did that, I was not expecting how to feel so moved by it. You know, it was really, really nice. So times like that, I do get really happy. And when I look at people and they're genuinely enjoying themselves, like I do feel proud to be a part of that. I think it's really nice to answer.
Yeah, I do love that. I mean, I know it's just something really interesting because laughter is like, I know you said earlier, like laughter is the best medicine, all of that, but it really has that power that for someone like yourself as well, like your career is insane. You've had so many incredible milestones. Like I don't want to rattle everything off because you know what you've done, but I mean, you performed solo at the Opera House, on stage at the Comedy Cellar. You've opened for Conan O'Brien, which I will never be okay with. That is just like the coolest thing alive, that sentence. But
yeah,
you know, you also, you know, you've got a novel, you've been on TV, you continually advocate for some amazing causes as well. But was there a time really early on as a kid where you kind of realized that being an entertainer might have been something you wanted to pursue professionally? Like, is this something you were destined for, or was this pure accidental magic?
Well, I don't know if I was ever like, I mean, I was always funny and like I liked laughing, and, you know, something I was really interested in was just like if I had a funny conversation with someone or whatever, I always wanted to like share it. Like I always wanted to write it down. Like I used to have all these notebooks full of funny things that had happened at school and stuff. So I think I was really obsessed with just wanting to share stuff that had happened that I thought was funny. But I don't know if I was like, you know, I was never like the greatest performer. I think I actually failed drama, but my drama teacher was an alcoholic. So it's, you know, yeah. So who knows? She might have just been blind drunk during my assessment. But yeah, I never was like, oh my God, I'm so great. Like I've got the X factor. I still don't even think I've got the X factor. Like every time something happens, I'm always like, oh, that's weird. Like, you know, I think I'm funny and stuff, but I definitely don't, you know, I've been very lucky to do what I do.
And considering what you have in like, you know, what you've done, and I don't want to say short space of time because nothing is an overnight success. There's so much hard work that goes on behind it. Like after all this time, after all the things you've ticked off, do you ever stop? Do you ever get these so-called pinch me moments considering how much you have in your wake at this point?
I do like, you do get kind of used to it. Like it's especially like, I think I started stand up 9 years ago. Mm. And you think of the shitty things you did when you were like starting out, you know, driving 4 hours to perform at an RSL where you just completely bomb, or, you know, I've had some shocking gigs, truly, like, you know, I've performed like in the outback we were on like barrels and wood and like, you know, there's been some really bad times, and so it's weird how quickly you do get used to it when it starts to work. And But there are some times where you're like, oh, I can't believe it. I'm so lucky.
Well, I like that you say that. Yeah, I was chatting with Hannah from Middle Kids, who obviously you'll be doing some fun things with next year, and she mentioned about the experiences they did when they did Conan, like because they got to do it in person, then they had to do a COVID version of it, and just kind of the pros and cons of both of those things. Like, how was that in your experience when you did it? Like, was it just a whole rush whirlwind kind of thing, or did you did you experience it?
Yeah, backstage at Conan was definitely the time where I was like, you know, just enjoy it, because I didn't want to be too nervous. You know, I was like, you might never get to do anything as cool as this. So I just was really, really trying to just take it all in and be like, oh my God, because it was so Hollywood. Like they picked us up in a limo and we like, you know, drove through the big white gates and stuff. I was very, you feel very out of body. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I think I can't even, I'm going to fangirl over it. So I'll just move on from me, like losing my mind. But in terms of how like, an American audience reacts to your stand-up as opposed to an audience at home, like, is there a significant difference? Did you feel like you had to alter anything, or could you just go out and be yourself?
No, the only thing I had to alter was the Nokia. They didn't have like Nokia 3310s weren't a big thing. You know, so like, you know how how old are you? You might be.
I'm 35.
Oh, okay. You're older than me. Oh my God.
No, I'm not. But the Nokia was the big thing. Playing Snake in the science classroom when I should have been doing work.
It was such a thing to have a unbreakable Nokia 3310.
Yes.
But in America, not so much. Like I think they were more flip phone. They were flip based. So I had to change that as a reference in one of my jokes. But besides that, no, I think funny is funny, you know. Like obviously I think it's pretty universal. You know when you've met a funny person, even someone who doesn't speak English very well or whatever, it's like you can kind of see that spirit in their eyes.
Yes, it transcends all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I don't know. People always ask me about the Conan thing, and I have never come up with anything particularly. The best thing was that he told me I need meds.
Yes, I read that. Like, was that?
Yeah.
I mean, I would take that as a compliment personally. Like, that's definitely going to be high praise.
Yeah, and I think he's on meds too. I think whenever someone's on meds, they're like, "You need meds." It must be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no like amazing story about the Conan thing. It was just kind of great, and I loved it. And yeah, it's awesome to have done it.
Yeah.
But nothing compares to this super fun day.
Oh, well, I think that's the cool thing is like, it's so awesome to have so much local talent amassing. Like one of the best silver linings is we do have to look closer to our backyard and recognize and appreciate and celebrate all the great talent we actually have. And it's so exciting to have that. And I guess on that note, given there's a bunch of bands rocking up on the day, this is just me lazily trying to get music recommendations without, having to actually go out and speak to my friends. What bands or artists currently have your attention? Like what's ruffling your feathers in a good way right now on your playlist?
Oh my God, I'm so embarrassing. Like I do love music, but I'm I just love rap music. I also I think I'm at the age where I'm regressing.
I love
so it's like I'm just going back to like Mary J. Blige and
yes,
like even Keith Sweat, like all R&B kind of like old soul kind of stuff. So it's really funny that I'm booked at this festival because I'm so not up with the newest. I mean, I kind of am. My boyfriend's really into it, so I'm always like have one ear tuned into what's going on, but I'm kind of daggy. But it's like you can be funny and daggy. That's the thing.
That's it.
Like I don't need to be cool to be at this festival. It's like, it's the greatest thing.
It's just a bunch of cool dudes and a bunch of really nice people by the looks of it too. Like it's exciting. Is there any band on there you're actually like secretly or not so secretly super keen to catch?
Do you know what? I haven't had a look at the lineup yet. So the ones that you've told me are the only ones I've seen so far.
Yeah, there's a heap. It's actually, I'm like looking at it because I'm up and down between Queensland and New South Wales all the time. And if they actually finally let me over the border, which they will by then, I will definitely need to be actually branching out and not listening to the same thing, listening to the same old.
Totally. It looks really good. I've got two little sisters and half sisters, and 19 and 22, and they're just like have already got tickets and they're so excited. So
Oh,
I mean, clearly it's kind of funny. Like I don't know the new music, but I always get them tickets to Splendor and stuff, and they love it.
that's the best present of all time. That's pretty awesome. And I know that Super Fun Day is going to be huge, and obviously what the doctor ordered for a lot of people after the last 2 years we've all had. And, let's not years prior, it's also been a bit shitty too. But beyond that, is there anything you can reveal about what you've got planned in the not so distant future? Or are you just kind of going to start the new year, let it roll?
What have I got planned? I have a new cat.
Oh my gosh. Go on.
I know. I've become a cat person, which I never thought I would. Like I just had no interest in cats, and now I've got one and it's all I want to talk about. But I'm also scared. I don't know if you have a cat, but when you have a cat, you just don't, like you spend all day trying to smell for piss.
Yep.
Like I'm just walking around the house like, is that piss? Is that piss? Because I don't want to be a couple that's like, oh, we've got a cat and our house doesn't stink. It's like, yes, it does. It reeks. We can smell it.
But that's exciting. It gives you something to do during the day when you're not busy planning all these amazing shows potentially.
Totally. Yeah, no, I've got some exciting stuff happening. I mean, there's all the music festivals, all the comedy festivals next year. I have a secret little thing that's happening, not to be one of those people that's like, oh, watch out for an announcement. But yeah, there's some really fun things happening. I'm so happy. Like after lockdown, it really has just lifted my mood. Like I'm in a great mood. I can't wait. I'm so excited to do all of it.
Oh, I love that. And it's just too. And I feel like it's going to be fun, not just for us, but also for you. But obviously looking a little bit further than that, there are so many other things, no doubt, lying in wait that you may not even know about that's going to happen. But
totally.
Anything you still want to tick off your bucket list professionally at this point? I mean, you've had a lot, but is there anything else you'd secretly love to do?
I don't know. I mean, it would be fun. Oh, I don't know. I'm too scared. I don't want to jinx it. I'm a little bit, what's the word? Superstitious.
Yes. I think it's a good way to be though. And you can play it close to your chest. And I think like the best thing is the fact that we're even allowed out of our houses at this point is just such a big win for so many. So I think whatever else comes has got to be just a beautiful icing on that cake. Yes,
absolutely. It's very exciting. Are you superstitious?
Yeah, I think I like to say that I'm not, but more and more I like, I'm always a just in case person. So I'm like, I say I'm not, but then I'm like, but I'll do this just in case.
Yeah. Like I will not wear certain shoes because I had a bad day wearing them or. Yeah. Or I don't, sometimes if I do gigs where they pay cash in hand, I don't let them pay me before I've done the spot. Just little things like that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also a level of intelligence behind that too, because you're just trying to hope for the best and you're trying to plan ahead as much as you can. If possible.
Totally. You need something to believe in.
Absolutely. What else? What else can we do really?
Yeah.
Well, Becky, keep you much longer. Given I have dragged you on the Green Room podcast today, the absolute last question I have for you, when you're able to branch out, get around, get on these shows, do all these amazing things. What's one essential item you like to take with you and have in your green room / backstage area or whatever they give you what's at the top of your essential backstage items?
Oh, I love burger rings.
Yum.
Yeah, I'm a real burger ring girl.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I'm into this.
Do you? Because a lot of people think they don't like them. And then I'm like, have one, and they have it and they're like, oh, this is amazing.
And that's when I snatch it and say, no, I'm eating all of them now. That's what you get.
Yes, they're so good.
Oh, I like this.
I think people think they're too silly. I think they think because they're a circle, they're like not a serious chip.
Yes.
People have got these kind of preconceived notions.
Yes, you're so right. And you can put them on your fingers and have a few extras so you don't have to get up and reach for more. What's not to love here?
Totally. But I think that silliness is what makes people I'm an adult now. I'm not allowed to like that chip. It's like you absolutely are.
Yeah.
Don't
bring out the inner child.
Totally. Don't commit to a corn chip for the rest of your life. There's other things out there.
Liz, life's meant to be lived and this is the way to do it.
Yes. Amazing. So I like to have them.
Yes, I'm very on board with this. Well, hopefully they'll get you some backstage at Super Fun Day next month.
Yeah, I hope they're listening to this. If not, I'm going to have a huge hissy fit.
I will be there to back it up. And,
I'm going to go ballistic. I'm going to be ripping down speakers.
Yep.
You know,
we're like white burger rings.
I'm going to give everyone in Middle Kids a wedgie.
I love this. Well, it's going to be some very, very fun things ahead. And I cannot wait to see this, hear more of your podcast, see more of your stand-up, and just generally see you continue to take over the world. So thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you so much.
Me.
You've been so lovely. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Tiana Speter is a euphony podcast. Created by Craig Treweek. Produced by Tiana Speter and Andrew Mast. Hosted by Tiana Speter. Recorded, edited, and engineered by Zig Parker. Music by Zig Parker.